Welcome, welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, to the MythBusters Aftershow. Show. Is that working at all?
No.
Okay. We are taking your questions about the episode Ready, Aim, Fire, some firearms shenanigans. The first question, we're jumping right into it, is Jonathan Banks as frightening in real life as he is on screen? And how did you go about getting him?
Well,
he was awesome.
Yeah, he was so nice.
He was so nice.
And yet there's something about that man that definitely makes you want to treat him with respect.
It totally is true. We're both fans of Breaking Bad. We both watched the whole series, and Jonathan is just such an amazing part of it. That gravity that his character, Mike, has on the show is absolutely something that Jonathan walks around with. It's just there on top of him, and it's kind of amazing. It's also really wonderful to watch. He's a sweetheart in person. He's a genuine pussycat. But to watch him click into that mode when you're doing bits to camera, it's just, he's an actor's actor. Okay, next question. When you tackle a familiar topic like guns, how do you help ensure you do it in a way that's new and exciting? That's a good question. That is always the question we're actually asking ourselves in the story meetings.
Well, we just try to be as relaxed and uncontrolled as we can.
You know,
it's always new and exciting.
We tackle things, frankly, if you do the same thing in the same way every single time, it gets boring. And we bore just as easily as anybody else. And so, you know, we're always talking about like, well, okay, yes, but we've done that. Could we do this in a different way? That's mostly, your question is the question we ask ourselves at the outset of an episode like that.
Yeah, you know, the thing about guns and our attitudes about them is they're often very delightfully machined and engineered machines. And they do all sorts of interesting stuff. Bullets do all sorts of interesting physics and everything. And we're fascinated by that and all the repercussions. Plus, the fact that people use them in all sorts of, I mean, it's part of American culture.
It is. And we're not that interested in their ability to kill stuff. But,
but
it's machines and you know, as things that test your ability to concentrate and physical prowess, there's a lot of meat there. Next question. Some of the high speeds in this episode were incredible. Did you have some new technology? Yes, we did. We actually borrowed for a day a brand new Phantom camera that can film. Now, normally we film with our Phantom at somewhere around 1,000 frames per second to maybe 5,000, 6,000, maybe a little north of 6,000. This new Phantom that we were using for some of those bullet shots can go upwards of 70,000. Am I right about that? 70,000 frames per second. So we utilized the spit out of it to get some gorgeous high speeds. Next question. Withstand the heat, were you surprised that the bullet seemed to cause damage despite traveling so slowly? Did you trust that your ballistics gel was calibrated right? I'm dubious. No, I'm confident that the bullet traveling that fast embedded itself in our ballistics gel about an inch, 3/4 of an inch. Not a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah, it was enough that, you know, that we had to say that it was potentially lethal if it hit you in the head. There are places in your head that, you know, it doesn't take a whole lot to kill somebody at. But that didn't surprise us. That's, you know, a BB gun will embed a BB in somebody's flesh, you know, as well. But it's obviously not the full power of a firearm.
Yeah, no, so our stuff was totally calibrated correctly. It wasn't overly hot that day, and our flame wasn't getting near the ballistics gel. It was the proper consistency. Next question, were you surprised at the through-the-wall myth? Yeah, actually, I was. I was surprised at how easy it was to track somebody's trajectory based on a constant movement, and juxtaposed to how difficult it was to track someone via the sound of their footprints. I thought that the first would have been harder and the second would have been easier.
Yeah, I like the science of that, though, ending up with a conclusion that, you know, putting them all together was what you needed.
Absolutely, yeah. And that last test was, I mean, we talked in another after show about setting up sort of contrived contests and then are they really going to, you know, make your adrenaline go? And that one, adrenaline is about as high as anything I've ever done. That was crazy fun. You and I stalking each other through that labyrinth. Next question, is myth busting fun even in the rain? That was a rough day out there at the Chabot Range when it was pouring rain all day. We had our little tent city. Yeah, the fact is, it's less pleasant to make the show under those conditions, but our crew is like, It's like a family, and we're basically out there camping, and everyone's trying to make the best out of it.
And we've had far worse.
We have dealt with far worse. It wasn't that cold that day. We've filmed in freezing rain, and that's a lot worse.
With strong winds, freezing rain, and long hours.
That was Whirlpool of Death was one of the worst ones.
Yeah, you get hypothermia and stuff, and it's not cool at all. But that was a nice gentle rain, and it was warm.
Yeah. Next question. I may be wrong, but by looking at your Twitter feed and relating it to imagery from this episode, was it during this myth that Jon Favreau hung out with you guys? What's the story there? Well, sharp-eyed viewer, yes, that is exactly when Jon Favreau visited the set. And he is a fan of the show. His kids watched the show, and he brought his family by the set for a couple of hours to say howdy and express his appreciation. And we expressed our great appreciation of his amazing body of film work. We're big fans of his.
Yeah, Carrie and Tori brought him by.
Yeah, that was really fun. It was great. All right, next question. I loved the imagery of the final test for the Through the Wall. Both of you looked really mean in your outfits, and yet you were wearing tap shoes and dancing through rainbow-colored walls. What a juxtaposition. Well, it's not really a question, but I agree entirely, and that's why we did all that.
Well, it is San Francisco, after all.
It is. Last question. Any more gun myths on the horizon? Well, there's certainly some on our list, but we don't have an episode planned currently.
Yeah, it comes when we see a good story. And
yeah, it's like someone, all of a sudden we see like, this new sneaker blocked a bullet. We're like, that goes on the list. We hear some outlandish quality of some new firearm. We're totally going to look at it and see if we can test it. Thanks for joining us on the MythBusters After Show. Your guys' questions are great. We love answering them. See you next time.